Wiebe's steel structures. The worker safety and health representative. A training platform. What you need to know. This is on a need-to-know basis, and you need to know your role and responsibility under the Workplace Safety and Health Act and regulations. On every construction site your employer places you, you represent the health and safety concerns of your coworkers to the employer, and in a sense, his safety concerns to them. Your employer and your coworkers expect a positive example on each site to create a positive attitude and respect towards safety and safe work practices. As a representative of the workers who elect you, you need to know what the Workplace Safety and Health Act and regulations say about your role so that you can diligently fulfill that role responsibly. Understanding the basic principles of the safety management system and internal responsibility system. The safety management system of Wiebe Steel Structures is a structured program employed by management to direct how the company will operate safely on work sites and give direction to its employees, ensuring safe work practices. The internal responsibility system gives each person employed by Wiebe Steel Structures direction as to what they are responsible for within the safety management system, and then work in cooperation with management and co-workers with the end of the day in view. The Manitoba Workplace Safety and Health Act and Regulation. Chapter W210, What the Worker Safety and Health Representative Should Know in the Construction Industry. Every employee of Wiebe Steel Structures receives a personal copy of the Health and Safety Manual during the new hire orientation, and a copy is present on each worksite. As a worker representative, it is your responsibility to promote its contents to your coworkers. Workplace Safety and Health Representative, Section 41, Subsection 1. Each employer shall cause a worker not associated with management to be designated as the Worker Safety and Health Representative. At a workplace, other than a construction project, where a Safety and Health Committee is not required, but where 5 or more workers are regularly employed. At a construction project, notwithstanding the requirements for a Safety and Health Committee, and at any other individual workplace or classes of workplaces designated by a written order of the Director. Appointment of Representative, Section 41, Subsection 2. The Worker Safety and Health Representative shall be appointed in accordance with the Constitution of the Union, or, if no such union exists, shall be elected by the workers he represents. Posting of name of representative, Section 41, Subsection 3. The employer shall cause the name of the representative to be posted prominently in the workplace. Duties of representative, Section 41, Subsection 5. The worker representative shall, in cooperation with a representative of the employer, perform the same duties as set out for the Workplace Safety and Health Committee in Section 40. Time off for work as representative, Section 41, Subsection 6. A representative is entitled to take the following time off from his or her regular duties: 1 hour to prepare for each safety and health meeting with the employer. The time required to attend each safety and health meeting with the employer. The time required to attend workplace safety and health training in accordance with Section 44 as approved by the employer. Such time as is necessary to carry out his or her duties as a representative under this Act and the regulations. Entitlement to pay for work as representative, Section 41, Subsection 7. A representative is deemed to be at work during the times described in Subsection 6, and is entitled to be paid for those times by his or her employer at the representative's regular or premium pay as applicable. Training of Representative, Section 41, subsection 8. The employer must ensure that the representative is trained to competently fulfill his or her duties as a representative. This presentation is for the purpose of fulfilling that requirement under the Act, and is considered by Wiebe's Steel Structures as a fulfillment of that responsibility. This presentation will be followed by a test to ensure understanding and competency of the elected worker safety and health representative. In all cases, the Act and regulations supersede this training exercise. The representative's duties as designated under Section 40, subsection 1, Workplace Safety and Health Committees. Workplace Safety and Health Committee. A basic overview of committee duties to be applied to the duly elected worker safety and health representative when more than 5 and less than 20 workers are on site. Duties of committee representative, see Section 41, subsection 5, Section 40, subsection 10. The receipt, consideration, and disposition of concerns and complaints respecting the safety and health of workers. Participation in the identification of risks to the safety and health of workers or other persons arising out of or in connection with activities in the workplace. The development and promotion of measures to protect the safety and health and welfare of persons in the workplace, and checking the effectiveness of such measures. D. Not applicable to Wiebe's Steel Structures. Cooperation with a safety and health officer exercising duties under this Act and regulations. The development and promotion of programs for the education and information concerning safety and health in the workplace. The making of recommendations to the employer or prime contractor respecting the safety and health of workers. The inspection of the workplace at regular intervals. The participation in investigations of accidents and dangerous occurrences at the workplace. The maintenance of records in connection with the receipt and disposition of concerns and complaints, and the attendance to other matters relating to the duties of the committee. Such other duties as may be specified in this Act or prescribed by regulation. The application of these duties as prescribed under the law will vary in the job description of the Wiebe's Steel Structures Worker Safety and Health Representative, depending on individual construction site needs. Items such as D will not be applicable, and other items will be fulfilled by Management Safety Administration in cooperation with supervisors and worker safety and health representative. This will be how the safety management system and the internal responsibility system will function. Safe Work Manitoba. A summary of the legislated roles of a worker health and safety representative. Page 8 of Safe Work Manitoba's Guide to Setting Up a Safety and Health Committee or Worker Representative summarizes in clear terms what worker representatives do in fulfilling their role in a company's internal responsibility system. Receive and follow up on concerns and complaints regarding the safety and health of workers. Help identify safety and health risks in the workplace. Help the employer develop and promote measures to protect workers and check on the effectiveness of those measures. Cooperate with workplace safety and health officers. Help develop programs and promote education and information about safety and health in the workplace. Make recommendations to employers or prime contractors regarding the safety and health of workers. Inspect the workplace at regular intervals. Inspections must take place before each regularly scheduled meeting. Participate in investigations of incidents and dangerous occurrences. Maintain records regarding concerns, complaints, and other matters regarding safety and health. Other duties as specified in the Act or Workplace Safety and Health Regulation. In addition, safety and health committees and representatives typically perform a number of other functions, including help the employer assess the effectiveness of each aspect of the internal responsibility system, Help the employer with the development of policies, plans, and programs. Help the employer provide orientation to new and inexperienced workers. Help the employer plan worker training. Communicate effectively with workers. Help develop strategic safety and health plans. The guide goes on in its summary to state the following on page 9. The role of safety and health committees and representatives is to monitor the effectiveness of the internal responsibility system in the workplace, make recommendations to the employer, and assist in the prevention of injuries and illnesses. It is important to recognize that, even though committees or representatives have these duties, the employer is still ultimately responsible for the safety and health in the workplace. Safety and health committees or representatives are not meant to be enforcers of safety and health in the workplace. The employer is responsible for making sure the internal responsibility system exists, controlling hazards, and ensuring compliance with legislation. A safety-conscious employer will support the efforts of the committee or representative. The employer must provide adequate resources, time, and training to help the committee or representative function effectively. The employer may delegate responsibilities to the committee, but the committee or representative is not expected to be a safety and health officer or enforce safety and health rules. The committee's or representative's role is to advise and assist, not assume managerial responsibilities for safety and health at the workplace. The committee or representative cannot assume any of the legal obligations, duties, or responsibilities of either employer or employees. The committee or representative should not be involved in disciplinary matters. Maintaining compliance and adequate levels of safety and health at work is the responsibility of the employer, managers, and supervisors. It is understood an employer is ultimately responsible for safety and health on every work site. The worker safety and health representative has duties to his coworkers and the employer, but not as an enforcer. He should, however, bring safety issues to the attention of the site supervisor as he becomes aware. The representative's duties include monitoring the IRS as it pertains to his or her duties as a representative and worker, as well as the duties of other workers. The worker representative will also make recommendations to the employer to assist in preventing workplace safety and health injuries and illnesses. Participation in inspections and investigations. Worksite inspections. A major role and key duty of the worker safety and health representative is to be involved in regular worksite inspections as determined by risk assessments. The size of construction project, number of workers, including subtrades, and type of activities are some of the things that should be considered by the employer, his representative, and the worker safety and health representative when determining how frequently inspections of a worksite are to be made. Legislation should be taken into consideration as site hazard assessments are required when work on site changes. An inspection is a planned walkthrough of any workplace to identify visible or potential hazards to the safety and health of workers or damage to equipment with the purpose of eliminating or controlling all identified hazards. For example, the horizontal rebar sticking out of the concrete grade beam in the picture opposite posed several hazards including tripping and puncturing PME tires. The rebar bent upward posed an impalement risk. Because the rebar could not be eliminated as it tied the grade beam to the concrete floor, the hazard for tripping was controlled by painting the rebar orange to warn workers of the hazard, and blunt rebar caps were used to keep the rebar from puncturing PME tires and to prevent impalement in the event of a worker falling from heights. For example, the site supervisor and worker safety and health representative could cooperate to visually inspect a work site for all identifiable hazards using the CSAM hit list each working day. When the rebar hazard is identified and ranked with any other hazards that the inspection identified, the controls or elimination of the hazards would need to be listed and actions completed before work begins in those areas. Every worker from each trade must also be informed of the identified hazards and acknowledge their understanding at the toolbox talk by signing off at the bottom. The supervisor and rep are then responsible to ensure the hit list is properly completed and filed. An inspection may be conducted in a selected work area for a particular hazard on PME, certain types of equipment, tools, or specific work practices and procedures. What is missing from this PME that is required by legislation? Some items are obvious and others are not. Therefore, the representative must have a critical eye when it comes to inspections, safety, and each work site for everyone's sake. Regular inspections have been shown to reduce injuries and illnesses and to improve the IRS. The employer and worker representative will plan and schedule inspections well before scheduled safety meetings to ensure that appropriate items that need attention can be duly addressed and resolved beforehand. Worksite investigations. An investigation and report is required by law when an accident occurs involving significant property damage, injury, or fatality. This also includes what is a near-miss incident as shown in the photo. Section 2.9, subsection 1 dictates that a worksite investigation must be made as soon as is reasonably practicable after an incident, quote, that injures a person and results in a person requiring medical treatment or that had the potential to cause a serious incident, end quote. Serious incidents defined in Part 2.6 to 2.9 of the Workplace Safety and Health Regulation delineate what the requirements for investigations are, and the worker representative should become familiar with those details. The worker safety and health representative may find it beneficial to review regulations during weekly Toolbox Talk safety meetings as part of meeting legislation. Wiebe's Steel Structures Health and Safety Manual, Section 10.1, 10.2, Incident Investigations and Reporting Policy, detail what type of incidents require investigations and reporting to workplace health and safety. Depending on severity, workplace safety and health officers will conduct their own investigation, as must the employer. Effective investigations identify direct and indirect causes and will not focus on fault finding but fact finding with the goal of preventing similar incidents. Each investigated incident must have a written report prepared by the supervisor and the worker representative conducting the investigation. Once again, the facts that led to the accident, incident, or near miss are the focus of every investigation. Investigations provide valuable information to prevent similar incidents from reoccurring. Disciplinary action may result from an investigation, but it is not the motive behind it. In the event a workplace health and safety officer conducts an investigation, the worker representative may be required to accompany the officer if he or she so requires. Some things are beyond investigating. Right to refuse dangerous work claims also require an investigation in which the worker representative must be involved. Wiebe Steel Structures follows the legislative requirements for right to refuse situations according to Wiebe Steel Structures Health and Safety Manual, Section 1.1, Company Health and Safety Policy. Section 1.3 of the policy clearly describes the process and should be familiar to the worker representative. On the other hand, some workers will need to be disciplined for endangering their lives and the lives of others, and therefore must be reported to the site supervisor for the enforcing of Wiebe's Steel Structures company rules. It's your responsibility. Wiebe's Steel Structures Health and Safety Manual. Your employer assigned responsibilities by the book. Now that you know what You need to know how. Your role as worker representative will continue to develop. The role of a worker safety and health representative will develop in stages and sometimes change with respect to how your job will be done. What may be necessary and work well on one work site may not on another. Therefore, changes or variations will need to be implemented to ensure that workers and the public stay safe and property and equipment undamaged. Overall, your responsibilities and job as the worker representative will be the same from day to day. However, the worker representative must remain open to change and variations in work situations as they arise and openly discuss these items with the site supervisor. The goal being to come up with viable solutions so that work continues unhindered. When work stops, profitability and morale goes down. Be sure to document these things in your notebook, recording who was there, what was discussed, and what the resolutions were, and do not forget the date and signatures. Consider how your role will be worked out on an average work day. As an employee of and assigned by Wiebe's Steel Structures Health and Safety Manual, Section 1.2, page 4, the representative as a worker is responsible to report hazards or unsafe conditions and actions, correct hazards or unsafe conditions, report all injuries and near-miss incidents, comply with company rules, wear required PPE, follow instructions and training received, use tools and equipment as intended, participate in toolbox talks, make safety suggestions, set a good example. However, as the elected worker, safety and health representative, and as assigned by Wiebe Steel Structures Health and Safety Manual, Section 1.2, page 4, the worker representative is also responsible to provide positive leadership by personal example, assist in worker safety issues, assist in identification of hazards by inspections, investigations, assist in the control of hazards, suggest and advise on PPE requirements, conduct safety talks for the crew. When applicable, participate with prime contractor safety committee or worker representative and ensure your workers are aware of issues. Now that you know what, you need to know how. You will fulfill your duty to these responsibilities by inspecting dangerous conditions and or call a special meeting to resolve any concerns brought to your attention by coworkers. By protecting the anonymity of complainants who request it and then notify complainants of recommendations made to management and their decisions relating to their concerns. By notifying all workers in all trades present on all sites where some of the work is determined to be dangerous. This could be by items brought to your attention from concerned workers or daily hit list inspections. By cooperating with the management representative to inspect the entire work site and the operations therein at regular intervals, and resolving any safety or health concerns identified during the inspection as soon as is reasonably practicable. By cooperating with the management representative or site supervisor to investigate accidents and dangerous occurrences when they happen on site. Any delay made in conducting an investigation must have a reasonable explanation. Conducting an investigation is a high priority and should be done as soon as is reasonably practicable. By reviewing the safety of new equipment, materials, or processes and make recommendations accordingly. Job hazard assessments may need to be completed so that safe work practices or safe work procedures can be developed or existing ones altered. This is done in cooperation with the site supervisor. Safety data sheets may need to be acquired from a supplier and added to the current library on site and at the company office. By conducting weekly or bi-weekly toolbox talks on topics relevant to work being done. The Wiebe Steel Structures Health and Safety Manual, or Wiebe Steel Structures Safe Work Practices and Procedures, should be reviewed and discussed routinely. Suggested changes should be noted and discussed with a managerial representative at a regularly scheduled meeting. By daily completing the CSAM hit list in cooperation with the site supervisor. By keeping your eyes open and your ears in tune to your surroundings and what your coworkers are doing. Correct what is unsafe privately and commend good safe work practices publicly, and let the supervisor know what has transpired. Mention the unsafe work practices at toolbox talks without mentioning anyone's name. Any ongoing situation should be brought to the supervisor's attention for him to enact any needed disciplinary action. By keeping an eye on new hires, particularly those that are young. They need your leadership and good example throughout their training and also when their experience serves to make their knowledge and safe work practices an asset to Wiebe's Steel Structures. By communicating that it is everyone's responsibility to work safely and ensure that other workers do as well. Report any and all unsafe work to the supervisor. By ensuring every worker employed by Wiebe Steel Structures understands that just because a person can do something risky or dangerous without injury or consequence does not mean that they should or that we will permit them to get away with it. That is how a young or inexperienced worker decides to take chances and ends up seriously injured or worse. By following Wiebe Steel Structures Health and Safety Manual and the Manitoba Act and Regulations. It is said, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but new and young workers can be trained to work safely as a craftsman instead of the way of workers who endanger themselves and others. When a worker is injured for any reason, other workers and emergency personnel are also put at risk and morale is affected. Is it a legitimate safety concern? Finding real balance while working as a worker rep. When it comes to the concerns fellow workers bring to your attention, it is vital that the worker representative hear employee concerns and make detailed notes, and where possible, take pictures so that an informed decision can be made. Hearsay is never enough. Get the facts. Carry a notebook and pen, or have easy access to them, and record who, what, where, when, why, and how with the date. Young and inexperienced workers may not understand training they initially receive. They may say they do or have forgotten, and then ask what may seem as questionable questions about something covered in training. While there are no dumb questions or safety concerns, the worker representative may be able to answer any concerns before taking them to the supervisor. More training and explanation may be warranted. Young and inexperienced workers should be assigned an experienced buddy to work with until they are competent to work without. Simple fixes can simply be fixed, but you should always document them. Never allow a worker who is reacting in the heat of the moment to dictate your responses or actions. Talk things through with workers who come to you with what they perceive as negligence on the part of other workers or management. Every problem has a solution. When leading by example, it is imperative to look for answers to safety concerns or problems by looking through safe work practices and safe work procedures that are available on every site. The answer may already be there. Draw on past experience. Do not throw your hands up and give up. While work must be done safely, it must be done. The Manitoba Workplace Health and Safety Act and Regulations give guidelines by which work must be done and are a source to resolve safety concerns. Be familiar with its contents. Keep things on a positive note. Help keep coworkers in mind that a safety management system and the internal responsibility system is not about assigning blame, but about working together with the employer within the SMS to work safely and cooperating to find solutions to safety issues. When everyone fulfills their responsibilities in the SMS according to the IRS, things should proceed safely for everyone. Safety is a shared responsibility by everyone on staff of Wiebe Steel Structures. The goal is that everyone be informed and work together safely to be productive and profitable, and then go home each day to return to work the next day with confidence. This concludes the Worker Safety and Health Representative training. A short test to confirm understanding and competency will follow. Wiebe's Steel Structures. Following are 10 fill-in-the-blank statements and 10 true or false statements that correspond to the test sheet before you. Include your name and the date in the spaces provided. Please print legibly. Take the time you need to complete the test. You may refer to your notes. You need 80% to pass. Each slide will remain up for 20 seconds before a new question is given. Your employer and your coworkers expect a blank example on each site to create a positive attitude and respect towards safety and safe work practices. The safety management system is employed to direct how the company will operate blank on work sites and give direction to its employees, ensuring safe work practices. Number 3, the internal responsibility system gives each person direction as to what they are blank for within the safety management system. The worker safety and health representative shall be elected by the workers he blank. Five. Some of the duties the rep has are receive and follow up on the complaints regarding blank and health of workers, help identify safety and blank risks in the workplace. 6. The worker representative should blank be involved in disciplinary matters. 7. An inspection is a planned walkthrough of any workplace to identify visible or potential hazards to the safety and health of workers, with the purpose of eliminating or controlling all identified blank. 8. Every worker from each trade must also be informed of the identified hazards and acknowledge their understanding at the toolbox talk by signing blank at the bottom. 9. Regular inspections have been shown to reduce blank and illness and to improve the internal responsibility system. Number 10. Just because a person can do something risky or dangerous without injury, does blank mean that they should, or that we will permit them to get away with it? Report all unsafe work practices. True or false statements. Number 1. The worker representative is entitled to take time off from regular duties to prepare and attend safety meetings and the time needed for rep training and to carry out their duties. True or false? Number 2. The worker representative should carry or have access to a notebook and pen to make detailed notes about items brought to his attention by coworkers. True or false? Number 3. The worker representative is to enforce the safety rules of the company and has the authority of a workplace health and safety officer. True or false? Number 4. The worker representative does not need to bring workers' health and safety issues to the attention of the employer or supervisor because he can take care of all issues on his own. True or false? Number 5. The worker representative does not really have to concern himself with worksite inspections. That is the supervisor's job. True or false? Number 6. The worker representative and the supervisor must investigate an accident or near-miss incident when someone is injured, needs medical treatment, or had the potential to cause a serious incident. True or false? Number 7. Investigations of worksite accidents and incidents are done as soon as is possible so that the facts may be found and similar incidents may be prevented in the future through elimination or controls. True or false? Number 8. The Wiebe Steel Structure Health and Safety Manual assigns the responsibility of providing positive leadership by personal example to the worker health and safety representative. True or false? Number 9. New and young workers can be trained to work safely as craftsmen instead of the way of workers who endanger themselves and others. True or false? Number 10. Safety is a shared responsibility by everyone on staff at Wiebe's Steel Structures. The goal is that everyone be informed and work together safely to be productive and profitable and go home that way. True or false? Self-grade. Place a check mark beside the correct, place an X beside the incorrect. 1. Your employer and your coworkers expect a positive example on each site to create a positive attitude and respect towards safety and safe work practices. Good would also be acceptable. Number 2. The safety management system is employed to direct how the company will operate safely on work sites and give direction to its employees, ensuring safe work practices. Number 3. The internal responsibility system gives each person direction as to what they are responsible for within the safety management system. Number 4. The worker safety and health representative shall be elected by the workers he represents. Number 5. Some of the duties the rep has are receive and follow up on complaints regarding safety and health of workers, help identify safety and health risks in the workplace. The worker representative should not be involved in disciplinary matters. Number 7. An inspection is a planned walkthrough of any workplace to identify visible or potential hazards to the safety and health of workers, with the purpose of eliminating or controlling all identified hazards. Number 8. Every worker from each trade must also be informed of the identified hazards and acknowledge their understanding at the toolbox talk by signing off at the bottom. Number 9. Regular inspections have been shown to reduce injuries and illnesses and to improve the internal responsibility system. Number 10. Just because a person can do something risky or dangerous without injury does not mean that they should, or that we will permit them to get away with it. Report all unsafe work practices. Number 1. The worker representative is entitled to take time off from regular duties to prepare and attend safety meetings and the time needed for rep training and to carry out their duties. True. Number 2. The worker representative should carry or have access to a notebook and pen to make detailed notes about items brought to his attention by coworkers. True. Number 3. The worker representative is to enforce the safety rules of the company and has the authority of a workplace health and safety officer. False. Number 4. The worker representative does not need to bring worker health and safety issues to the attention of the employer or supervisor because he can take care of all issues on his own. False. Number 5. The worker representative does not really have to concern himself with worksite inspections. That is the supervisor's job. False. Number 6. The worker representative and the supervisor must investigate an accident or near-miss incident when someone is injured, needs medical treatment, or had the potential to cause a serious incident. True. Investigations of worksite accidents and incidents are done as soon as possible so that the facts may be found and similar incidents may be prevented in the future through elimination or controls. True. Number 8. The Wiebe Steel Structure Health and Safety Manual assigns the responsibility of providing positive leadership by personal example to the worker health and safety representative. True. Number 9. New and young workers can be trained to work safely as craftsmen instead of the way of workers who endanger themselves and others. True. Number 10. Safety is a shared responsibility by everyone on staff at Wiebe Steel Structures. The goal is that everyone be informed and work together safely to be productive and profitable and go home